Hello and welcome to another Bad Comic Review. This time we're looking at Devil's Reign Omega, issue 1. This is a 2022 one-shot that is supposed to wrap up a miniseries that probably should have ended with issue 6. But no, we have to have an end cap for some reason. And this is actually an anthology, not a single issue, and despite the fact that Daredevil and Elektra are on the cover, they're barely in the book. So we have 3 stories. Fallen Rise, written by Chip Zdarsky, art by Rafael De La Torre, colors by Federico Blee. Then we have Mayor for Hire, written by Rodney Barnes, art by Guillermo Sana, color art by Digio Lima. Both stories were lettered by VC's Clayton Cowles, with associate editor Tom Groneman, and edited by Devin Lewis. Then the third story is Cleaning House by Jim Zub, art by Lucino Vecchio, color art by Carlos Lopez and Java Tartaglia, letters by VC's Joe Sabino, assistant editor Martin Biro, associate editor Annalise Bisa, edited by Tom Brevoort. The cover by Inhyuk Lee is actually really good. I like the cover a lot, but it's very deceptive. The first story, Fallen Rise, takes place during the funeral of Matt Murdock. Luke Cage is already mayor, somehow, because the election must have been held and they didn't bother having a funeral. And Butch tries to show up to the funeral and nobody wants him there because he's the kingpin of crime now. And Daredevil talks to Luke on a rooftop for a few minutes before they go and break up a bank robbery. And for some reason, the Thunderbolts show up and try and arrest Daredevil, and the Thunderbolts tell Luke Cage they don't work for him. We also learn the fate of the Purple Man's son, who's going to get adopted. Oh boy. The art in this story was a mixed bag. The colors are really well done, but the art definitely needs some work. The artist understands perspective shots just fine, but there's a distinct lack of detailing, and some people's heads look very uncanny valley, especially Foggy Nelson. Others look too smooth. I think the artist really needs to work on faces quite a bit. The second story finds Luke Cage breaking up the Thunderbolts, who are working with Crossbones, and just going in and beating the crap out of them, calling them corrupt, etc. Monica Rambeau assists, and he tries to recruit her to lead the Thunderbolts. Overall, I thought the art was pretty well trash on this. It's very amateur hour. Perspective shots really leave a lot to be desired. The artist understands the concepts. They just need to really work on body proportions. Luke Cage goes from hilarious 1990s with very little definition drawn in to being more of a normal muscular human. I don't know how this art got approved. This looks like something that should be in the indies. It's very cartoonish and over the top. The third story, however, has the worst art, and this should have been the second story because it seems to tie in better with the timeline if you'd put this before the second story. And the art here is just a complete mess. Bodies look very disproportionate and awkward. Perspective is really corrupted a lot of times by people looking like their arms are T-Rex arms, and people's heads don't look very well drawn. So there's a lot of detailing that's lacking, and the art is just hideous. The story itself was pretty lame. It's just about Luke giving his first speech as mayor-elect or whatever. It was very boring and should have been put in between the other 2 stories. The first story was probably the best written. It just didn't really go anywhere or have anything to do with anything. This was a completely unnecessary book, with the exception of explaining what happened to the Purple Man's kid, which should have been mentioned in the 6th book of the miniseries. This is just a complete waste of $5. Paper quality's trash, especially compared to the other issues of the miniseries that all had pretty good paper, and this was obviously an afterthought and a cash grab, so I won't waste my time. This is a complete joke of an issue with very little to contribute to the storyline. So I'm not going to recommend it. I think this was just a waste of money. If you pull it out of a bargain bin, make sure you get it for like less than $1, because it's just not worth it. So a completely mixed bag of really unimportant, pointless things that have nothing to do with anything. The first story had a lot of swearing in it too, so there's little graphics everywhere to hide the swear words, and it really detracts from the story to the point where it was predictable and annoying. So there's nothing really here. Just skip this one. It's a giant waste of money. That'll do it for this episode. Thank you so much for listening and supporting the channel. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future reviews. If you'd like to help the channel out in other ways, links are in the description to various support methods. And as always, we hope to see you on the next one.